Hello, JPU family. Welcome to another episode. Guys, do you remember the arson that took place in Central Kingston in 2021, where a family of 13 were displaced after the fire destroyed their 12-bedroom home on East Avenue? In Central Kingston over the years, I think since about 2020, we have seen so many arsons that displaced a lot of families. Most of the times you hear where it's reported that it's gang related, but this family is the biggest family that lost their home to this gruesome act of arson. Well, there's some good news. The Prime Minister of Jamaican government announced that they would break ground, which they did a few days ago, to resettle this family on that same property where their place was torched. I'm going to let you listen to what the victims of the fire has to say and also the Prime Minister. Guys, this is such a sad occasion, but at the same time, that family that lost everything, it must be a very good thing, to have someone care and have someone just come in and come do what them probably couldn't do, which is to resettle themselves after losing everything that they have gained and worked for over the years. Have a listen.
We just broke ground at 4 East Avenue in Central Kingston for the second multifamily social housing project under the modality of what we call the tenement yard social housing program under the new social housing program. Doreen is the beneficiary. Her house was destroyed by fire, which was an act of arson. Doreen, tell us what happened to you?
On the 27th of July, 2021, I was woken by my grandson knocking on my room door. Grandma, 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 get out, grandma. The house is on fire. So I jumped out the bed, and when I pulled the door and I looked towards the passageway, I saw fire on the outside. And so I came out and I started calling my daughter, calling my son, calling everybody, trying to get them out of the house. And by this time, I got to run out the house because the fire was so intense that um, the house, we could not even save anything at all because the persons who came to burn the house down, they were on the outside. So we hid into the back of the house while afterward, then we heard somebody blowing at the gate. And that was when we realized that it was somebody passing. And that was when we came out to the back of the house and everything was in fire. My husband almost lost his life because it's his room they enter from and light the fire. And then they tell him to get out. And after they light the fire, then they push him back in the fire and close the door on him. But they didn't know that right beside that door, there was another door which he had escaped through and go out through the window on the outside and hid around that side in the darkness that where they couldn't see him until we came out of the house. And then the fire brigade came and police came afterward. So I'm giving God thanks that all my children and grandchildren that were inside the house, we all were saved.
You know, when we say that crime is being reduced right across Jamaica, that the homicide rate is down, that all crimes are down, there are those who are disbelievers or who would just prefer to always accept the negative that crime will always be high. But I want to offer to you Doreen's story of what it means to live in a community where men would, for no reason, come into your home and seek to destroy it and to take your own life. And now to be able to return 4 years later in a community where homicides are down more than 50%, where there has been a sustained peace for more than 2 years, where the criminals who used to roam the streets here with impunity are no longer here, and now the government can come in and seek to rebuild this entire house. But more than that, if you were able to cast your eyes just to the neighbors, you would see that they are also building. In other words, peace generates greater economic activity. It rebuilds hope, and it gives people a chance to restart their lives. And Central Kingston and communities within Central Kingston, like this community, has been in the grips of violence for a very long time. We have put in place several measures, including states of public emergency, including a zone of special operations, and now we are transitioning into other kinds of operations to deal with not just the organized crime, but also the entrenched social violence that exists in communities like these, where people resort to violence as a means of resolving simple social conflicts. So I'm very pleased, Doreen, that, and I can see how emotional you are, that we are now starting the process of rebuilding your home. But it's not, it's a multi-family house. This is where three or four, seven households lived here, but one big family. And can you imagine what would have happened to that family being ripped from their home and then having to be living all over and trying to pay rent and staying with family members and the disadvantage and all the issues that occur. And to now finally see that after 4 years, a transformation is going to happen. We're very happy at the new social housing program to be a part of it, but the government is also very happy that we can say that finally, after decades, we are seeing the signs of peace emerging in these communities.
Yeah, guys, and this is why I would say choose Jamaica because you can see that the Prime Minister, Andrew Holness, is really trying to transform a lot of these forgotten communities, a lot of these dilapidated communities. And one man cannot do that in one term or two terms, but you can see the effort, and with time, it is going to come to fruition. But not only will, this community be transformed, but you can also remember, as I do, back in 2021-ish, when Central Kingston, guys, I was wondering when we were going to see a sense of peace in that community. Do you guys remember that? Every single day, Central Kingston was like the Montego Bay, you know, where every minute, every single day, you hear people are dead and you wonder, what are the police doing? What is happening? But thank God, with the persistence of law enforcement and with the cooperation of the community, they now have a place that they can call home, Central Kingston, where people are not waking up to the bloodletting every day. I wish to see a continuation of what the government is doing and the transformation of our country. It takes work, it takes time, and it takes great effort. It takes money. Let's not forget that. And this is why we cannot have government building and opposition tearing down and their followers and supporters. It doesn't make sense to build a country. It really needs consensus when good things are happening. We've heard parliamentarians say this, not just on the government side, but we've heard it on the opposition. We've heard Dr. Phillips say it. We've heard Lisa Hanna say it. You have some of them who say one thing and them action show something else. So let us not be on the side of obstruction. Let's not be on the side of trying to go against what is good for Jamaica. I say choose Jamaica and big up them people here and the people who are making it possible for them to get resettled. Guys, this is Jamaica Politics Uncovered. Keep it locked here. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next video.